What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Matt. In this video, we're talking about Canada's new temporary foreign worker regulations and how that'll impact maybe the future of housing. We're also going to dive into some new numbers that Toronto Real Estate Board has posted just about home sales, average selling prices in comparison to last year. Now, it seems like there's been a temporary boost, but is that going to be for a long time? We'll see. So firstly, I want to talk about some big changes coming to the temporary foreign worker program in Canada. Employment Minister Randy Boissoneau, very French last name, just announced new regulations that could cut down the number of employers eligible to hire temporary foreign workers. Let's break down exactly what's happening and why it matters, okay? So the federal government is really cracking down on the temporary foreign worker program. After expanding the program recently, there were some serious concerns about fraud and exploitation, right? So obviously a lot of employers taking advantage of this particular group of people. And Boissoneau stressed that we need stricter oversight, especially in what he calls the high-risk sectors, okay? So he pointed out that some bad actors are taking advantage of the program, which is hurting both foreign workers and legitimate businesses. To tackle this, he's thinking about banning certain industries from hiring foreign workers for low-wage jobs. And so remember back in 2022, just a few years ago, when there was a big labor shortage, right? According to the government and a lot of sources, there was a huge labor shortage. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's administration expanded the program, okay? And he let companies hire more temporary foreign workers. That's what happened. They upped the cap to 20% for most firms and even higher for construction and healthcare sectors. But this rapid growth didn't come without, obviously, criticism, right? Now, Canada's unemployment rate is up to 6.4%, and youth unemployment is at a staggering 13.5%. That's a huge number, okay, for youth unemployment. What that means is a lot of young Canadians, a lot of young kids in the country that are looking for effectively minimum wage jobs can't find it a lot, okay? And I've personally seen this with my own eyes. I've been in, let's say I'm in like a bubble tea or ice cream shop, and then I'll see a daughter and her mom come into the store like really quickly and just ask, are you guys hiring? And the mom is also there trying to like help, you can see that. And then the guy who owns the store is just like, no, we're not hiring at all. So you can tell like they're going store to store doing this, and there's probably a lot more parents and their kids doing this. And it's very sad to see, because in my personal opinion, it's when kids can't get jobs in a country, that means they can't just learn the basics of like working a job and getting that experience. Like, I'm not gonna lie, my very first job was McDonald's. I worked at McDonald's years ago, but I also learned a lot of like good skills there. I don't know. You just learn how to show up on time, how to follow orders, which may or may not be that great in life, depending on how you look at it. But also, I just think it was a good experience for me when I was young. And I feel like kids nowadays, if they can't get a job at like a fast food place or just any kind of small, let's say, grocery job, because there's nothing available, it's really gonna like hurt that younger demographic of Canadians. It's going to make them not able to pay for things on their own. They're not going to be able to go on dates or buy things for themselves, like small things, just things like going to the movies, with your friends. Like, think about all the luxuries if you're, let's say, over a certain age that you got to do when you were younger, when you worked a job. Kids these days don't have that luxury. So it's sad. And honestly, I think I'm going to attribute a lot of it to this particular program, this foreign worker program. Now, let's look into kind of more of the info. So, Immigration Minister Mark Miller is also on board with tightening the program. While he hasn't cut the 20% hiring cap, he's focused on making sure that the rules are enforced consistently and increasing oversight in areas prone to abuse. Now, exactly how they're going to do that and what they're going to do, well, that's really up for debate, and we'll see what happens. Now, Boissoneau suggested raising the $1,000 fee that employers pay when applying to hire foreign workers and setting stricter eligibility criteria, like requiring a minimum number of years in operation. He emphasized that this program should be an extraordinary measure used only when no qualified Canadian workers are available. Now, I agree with that. This whole program should have only been used if there was just no Canadian workers available, right? Why should we bring in more workers when we have people that live here that are born here also not able to find work? This program should have just been like a backup, but this program was, I think, placed almost at the forefront, and it allowed companies to hire cheap labor from outside the country and also take advantage of these people. And not only that, in my personal opinion, I also think they were suppressing wages at the same time. So it hurts every other Canadian that looks for other jobs, right? Brings low wages and pushes wages down. It also makes you think, were they kind of doing this by purpose? That's a whole different avenue you can go down. I'm not going to go into that in this video. Really makes you think, are they working together on certain things? And I'm talking about the government and businesses, okay, big corporations. And that is not a good thing if they're working together, I'll tell you that. So Miller also criticized heavy reliance on cheap foreign labor, saying it drives down wages and can lead to exploitation. Oh my God. I'm glad he had the epiphany, right? I'm glad he realized that. It's crazy that these people can't see this stuff coming ahead of time. The current system ties employees to a single employer, making it tough for them to switch jobs if they're being mistreated. Christina Santini from the Canadian Federation of Independent Business mentioned that these changes might make things hard for small business owners who genuinely need foreign workers but could struggle with the new regulations. So what's next for this program? It's definitely clear that the government is committed to reforming this program and make it more fair and effective. So we'll keep our eyes on that over time, and if anything big changes, I'll definitely keep you up to date on that as well. They should have been changing this near the beginning, after a month or two, but of course things are slow at that level and it takes years for things to change. Unfortunately, now the young people that are born in Canada are now suffering because of that. It is what it is. Let's look at the numbers that have come in from the Toronto Real Estate Board. It looks like the recent interest rate cuts by the Bank of Canada might actually been paying off a little bit, as we've seen some noticeable upticks in the home buyer activity this past July. The Toronto Real Estate Board just released their latest report, and it's showing some encouraging signs. Okay, so home sales in July 2024 were up by 3.3% compared to the same month last year, with a total of 5,391 homes sold through their MLS system, right? That's a positive shift from 5,220 recorded in July 2020. But it's not just the buyers who are responding to these particular changes. We're also seeing a new surge in new listings, up by a significant 18.5% compared to last July. And this new influx of inventory suggests that sellers are getting in on the action too, perhaps anticipating increased interest from buyers. Now, while sales are on the rise, prices have remained relatively stable thanks to the new flood of listings. This stability presents a unique opportunity for those who've been waiting on the sidelines for a long time. TREB's president, Jennifer Pierce, highlighted the positive impact of the recent rate cut, saying we may be starting to see a positive impact from the two Bank of Canada rate cuts that were announced in June and July. Additionally, the cost of borrowing is anticipated to decline further in the coming months. So I talked about that in the previous video, that interest rates are expected to go down over the next year and a half by around 175 basis points at the most optimistic level. And that's from, I believe, TD and CIBC. So the banks are also predicting that interest rates will come down. And also TREB's chief market analyst, Jason Mercer, added that this increased buyer activity could keep home prices relatively flat in the short term. However, he warned that prices might also start to rise again if inventory levels aren't boosted by new home completions. That's a good point, right? If homes aren't being built and completed and projects really slow down, prices could still go up, right? It all depends on how much inventory comes on the market, how long it takes for it to sell, right? If more houses come on the market and they sit, I think naturally sellers are going to keep dropping their prices, and that's going to lower the overall average selling price across the market. And let's also not forget about the recent policy development. Praise that Toronto City Council's decision to explore changes in building codes that could facilitate the creation of more family-size multi-residential units. This innovation in new home construction, coupled with improved public transit options like the incoming crosstown LRT, could further impact housing supply and affordability. As we move forward, it'll be crucial to watch whether this modest increase in activity is the start of just a larger trend or just a temporary blip. Obviously, with further interest rate cuts on the horizon, the next few months could be key in determining long-term trajectory of the Toronto real estate market and also the Canadian real estate market as a whole, because Toronto and Vancouver make up such a big part of it. So obviously, I will keep you up to date on all those numbers and information. If you guys like the video, please hit the like button. It helps me push this information to a new audience who might really benefit from it. And of course, if you guys want to keep up to date with this information, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.